and welcome to my YouTube channel, Healthy After 60. And tonight's video is going to be on what I've learned in the first 5 months of being on my keto diet, my keto journey. And I wrote down a few things, 11 points that I wanted to cover in this video. The first being that the keto journey really is something that has to be personal. And I went from, in the beginning, I was just consuming all the YouTube keto slash low carb videos I could, and I was making those, trying to make those dishes and doing a pretty good job of it and enjoying it. And but over time, I have found that I really find a fresh cut of meat or poultry or pork or fish with a vegetable to be very satisfying, and it's very simple, but a very satisfying type of a meal that I really enjoy. And so as time went by, the number of ingredients kind of decreased. The preparation time, well, certainly the effort decreased, and I found that I was enjoying the food more. And I'll cover that over the course of these steps. I think the other thing that it's really dawned on me is I want to stay on this keto journey long term. I'm not planning on going back to and I don't even know if I could go back to the old way of eating. And what's exciting about the keto journey is that everything that you do, everything you incorporate into the keto journey, you're doing it because those food items are healthy, they're nutritious, they're also maybe you're finding them delicious. And so, that is something that has been very important to me as I've been on this keto journey, is to keep incorporating things that are going to make this keto journey more and more healthy. And so that is something that is a real focus. And speaking of focus, I did want to also say that I have learned that you need to be focused on being prepared, and that can be kind of time consuming. And the third point was time consuming. And so you really are only as good as the food you have on hand. And so if you're going to be eating a keto breakfast or a keto lunch or a keto dinner, you really have to have those food items on hand so that you can be successful in keeping it low carb, keeping it keto, and keeping it real and whole. And so that's I don't mean to say that as a negative. It's actually it's a positive. It is time consuming. It's something I spend a lot of my time with in planning and shopping for those food items. And I think that the overall result is very positive because you have those fresh ingredients that you enjoy. And I also have found that I think differently about food right now. And in the beginning, you kind of focus on what you're doing without. You're focusing on living without certain things, and in the beginning. And as time has gone by, like I'll be at a McDonald's drive-through window, and I'll be just to get a cup of coffee as an example, and I'll be looking at those Big Macs or those quarter pounders with cheese or those French fries on the sign, no longer longing for them, but just thinking that they don't even look real to me. It doesn't look like food. It looks like something so processed and so it just doesn't look like whole, real food, and it's just really begun to really appear to be so unappetizing to me personally. And as time goes by, I think even more so. And so that's been an interesting observation. It does also, I wanted to also say that the keto diet is not the end all to a healthy lifestyle, that it also involves healthy lifestyle choices, getting enough sleep, getting enough exercise, certainly eating the right foods, of course, is really important. Not putting yourself in situations where you're putting your body through more stress than it can handle, that kind of thing. And so I think it's definitely probably the most important component, but not the only component to a healthy after 60 lifestyle. And I believe so wholeheartedly in the daily smoothie. When I first began, I had a juicer that my son and I bought years ago, and I was juicing kale, and I was finding I was like really excited about it because the anti-inflammatory characteristics of the kale was just making my joints feel so good, and I thought, wow, this is great. But I realized I really was missing out on the fiber component of kale, and so I've evolved from juicing to using a smoothie maker and now a Vitamix blender, and so you get all of those nutrients and anti-inflammatory and other micronutrients in your smoothie, but you're also getting all the fiber that it contains too, and that's a real important component and one of the real big pluses of the keto diet. I've never been one to really spend a lot of time worrying about regularity as an example, but I can tell you that I've never been more, but not in the beginning. Actually, in the beginning, I was felt like I was constipated, and then it went from that to just feeling like things were running through me in a way that didn't seem particularly healthy, and then it evolved to just a sense of regularity that has been a really big plus, and it's something I never really emphasized before, but I can tell you that since I've been on this keto diet and eating as many greens and whole vegetables as I've been eating, along with the smoothies, I'm getting lots of fiber in my diet, and it's really resulted in a system that just seems to be running pretty regularly, and I really appreciate that. The other surprise to me is over time I've gone from I was initially just shopping at the same old store I always shopped at, just trying to buy the low carb ingredients. And then I went from there to, I discovered I was going to Trader Joe's and then to Aldi's. But then as my smoothie evolved, I was going to Whole Foods for the organic, fresh smoothie ingredients of things like turmeric and beets and the kale that goes into the smoothie, the chia seeds, the flax seeds, etc. All of the, oh, by the way, I have other videos that actually show the ingredients I put in my smoothie, and I'm going to be putting out another one very soon to discuss the various kinds of smoothies that I've been consuming every day. Every single day. It's a regular morning routine. In addition to that, I've been trying to kind of incorporate a continual improvement process into my diet. As an example, I'll use an example. I started out and I think I was just drinking bottled water, and then I went from bottled water to seltzer water, and now I'm really hooked on lemon water, first thing in the morning as well as just with meals, and really nutritious and lots of vitamin C, and I like it. It's just it's something I think that really adds to a meal. And so their continual improvement process, maybe a little bit of a surprise, and something I think that keeps it really exciting because you're constantly trying to improve upon your keto habits and your low carb habits. And I find that I've been feeling a sense of wellness, And I think that what you, and I know that some of those micronutrients also have kind of an effect on mood, etc. But I just think that my level of happiness has been greater since I've been on this keto journey. This low carb journey has definitely led to a sense of well-being and happiness that's been a real positive thing. And lastly, I wanted to talk a little bit about desserts because I have tried to incorporate a lot of, some fruit into my diet, and now I have found that my go-to dessert actually is I've been going to Whole Foods a lot in shopping for actually just about everything these days. I find that it's worth it to me to get the better quality ingredients at Whole Foods. I don't mind the added expense. And so I started out, I made a peanut butter. In fact, I had a prior video on that peanut butter I made, but I discovered at Whole Foods you could just make it by pushing a button and putting a container underneath the spout of the peanut butter maker, and it's really not particularly expensive, really, for the peanut version of that peanut butter. And so I've been really finding I've been craving my peanut butter with some fruit on top. I'll put fresh blueberries or strawberries on top, organic, and find that it's really satisfying and something you kind of look forward to after your day and your 3 healthy meals. And I have actually, and I wanted just to also mention that over time I've tried to incorporate. In the beginning, I ate so much spinach that I had literally spinach coming out of my ears, but I didn't mind because I like spinach, but I was eating a lot of spinach. And so over time I incorporated butternut squash, I think was my first new vegetable I incorporated into my diet, and I have found that it really agrees with me. I love the taste of it. You can prepare it so easily. I've got a video on that, but just 2 hours in a 400-degree oven, and you've got a butternut squash that can be mashed into the best side dish you can imagine, much better than mashed potatoes. Bok choy, I don't think I've ever actually made bok choy before. I think I've had it at a Chinese restaurant perhaps, but I just find steamed bok choy to me is just an enjoyable vegetable, very nutritious. Red chard is something else that I have surprisingly found that I just really like. I think it's just as delicious, you might say, as spinach, and I steam it with a little bit of butter on top, and it's a great dish. This surprised me, collard greens. I was actually expecting not to like collard greens because every time I've ever had a collard green experience, they've always been negative, but I find collard greens just steamed in the steamer are absolutely delicious. I think in some ways I like them better than spinach. Very, very good vegetable, very nutritious. Mustard greens. I was expecting to like mustard greens. I tried them for the first time today. I did all kinds of research. I heard where it had kind of a mustard taste, and I've got to say I don't know if I tasted the mustard in the mustard greens. It has a very unique type of a flavor. I wouldn't say that I disliked it, and I wouldn't say that I liked it. It was somewhere in between there. But I'm going to be incorporating some mustard greens. Probably less of them than say spinach or bok choy, but I'm definitely going to be incorporating some mustard greens in my diet. I do think that that mustard greens are just, even though I didn't love the flavor, when I was eating them, I thought, these have got to be so healthy. And so I think that's going to keep me buying mustard greens and having them maybe every other week maybe is what I plan on. So those are just some of the things that I've learned in the 5 months that I've been on this keto diet. I hope you found this content to be of value, and if you have, I'd really appreciate it if you could subscribe to this channel. I'm going to keep putting out some content that I hope you'll find valuable as you're on your own keto journey, or perhaps you're just trying to stay healthy after 60. And so there's going to be exercise components, cooking components, nutrition components to this channel that I think you'll find valuable. So please, if you find it valuable, hit subscribe, hit like, send me a comment. I would love to get your comments. And I want to thank you for viewing. Have a good night.